All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and we've been going through the PowerPoint presentations for Murock's Android Programming, second edition by Joel Murock. We are in the middle of Chapter 2, and so far we've talked a little bit about our user interface and how to create a new project. It's time to go in and add some widgets to our layout, set our display text, work with resource files, set properties, talk about some common properties, and look at the XML for the user interface. So, we're back here. All right. Now, the first thing that we want to do is we want to start building our interface. So, to build interfaces, we're going to have to go and add a bunch of widgets, or what I typically refer to as controls in other programming languages, to our interface. Now, I'm going to jump back to Chapter 1 because in Chapter 1, what was shown in there, where is it? I thought it was in here. After all that, was it in Chapter 2? There we go. So this is what we want to start building. I want to go out and I want to drag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different text view widgets out onto my screen. All right. And I want to grab and add one edit text widget onto my screen and then 2 button widgets onto the screen. All right. So again, to add a widget, we drag it from the palette onto the layout. All right. So let's go through and start doing this. And again, it's been a while. I'm not making any excuses. I love this stuff. All right. But it's been a while since I've done this, so you'll have to bear with me, and you'll probably be going through the same trials and tribulations yourself once you get going. And as I said, that is a good thing. All right. So let's go back into Android Studio. All right. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come through here and I'm going to grab, again, one last time, okay, we want to grab these text view widgets. So I'm going to just grab one of these and just drag it in here. Let go. I'll put it near the top and drag. There it is. All right, so I put in a text view. That's the first thing. Okay, and what we want that to say is bill amount. All right, so let's talk about a few things. First of all, if we go back into here, now notice we've just added that. Okay, so that's the first thing. We've added this text view. There's the beginning of it. There's the end of it. All right, its text right now is text view. All right, now also, once we did this, once we did all this, let's see. Let's go back into here. Okay, it now has added a text view in here, and here are our properties, etc. All right, so there's a bunch of different things that we can set in here. Again, what we want this to say is bill amount. So the first thing I'm going to do, and again, what I'm starting to show you here, it's not that important, the order in which we do all this. All right, but I've got this. I'm going to come in and I'm going to add another text view and put it basically right underneath the first one. Didn't go exactly where I wanted it to, so there it is. So there will be the one for the percent. Then I'm going to add another one. I'm going to put that down here. That really didn't work the way I wanted it to. All right. This is not the same interface. All right. This is not the same thing that we're using with Visual Studio. Okay. So we've got 3 different text views. Notice that right now they all say text view, and they're all a little bit different, and that's okay. It really and truly is. I'm going to come down here where it says layout, like this. I'm going to grab these 2 lines, copy them to the clipboard. I wanted to show you something here. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to paste them in, but I'm going to change this from, let's see, that one's 16 plus 37, 53 and 37 would be 90. All right, now let's see what I just did. See how I put that in there now, and now they all, for lack of better words, kind of line up. All right, so I'm going to add one more, and just to show you, I can even add it in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of this that I had, copy it to the clipboard, come back in here, paste. Not sure what that is, but I'm going to get rid of it anyway. And now I'm going to put 127. All right, and I'm going to come back. So now notice I have 4. Those are all 4 of the text view widgets that we want to put in there. Okay? So what I've just shown you is how we can add a widget, and I actually showed you 2 ways to add a widget. The major way most people do this is to drag the widget from the palette onto the layout. All right? Now, we're using a relative layout, and the author says it's a good practice to set the ID property for the widget as soon as you do that. To do that, you can click on the widget and use its properties window. So there's clicking on it. Here's the properties window. All right, there's the ID. So the first one, I don't want it to be called text. I don't like text view because that's a silly name, but it's going to hold, if you remember, the bill amount. So I'm going to call this text view bill amount and hit enter. And what you'll notice, there it changed. And it also changed in here. Somewhere in there it now says text view bill amount. All right. There it is. There's the ID. Okay. Again, we're going to go over all this stuff. So if you find it confusing right now, it's to be expected. Now let's click on the second one here. This one is going to hold the text %. So we will change the ID to text view %. And again, you notice it changes here. And again, you notice it changed here. The third one is going to be the tip. So for the third one, we will click on it on this again. And we will change the name to text view tip. And again, you see it changes here. And you see that it changes here. And then finally, we'll come back to the last one here. And we will change that because that one is going to hold the text total. So we will change the ID of that to text view total. No rocket science here. Nothing that you probably wouldn't expect is going to happen. All right. Widgets are also referred to as controls. I think I've mentioned that, but just so you know. All right. We can drag these widgets around if we want to align them someplace else. If we don't want one anymore, we can highlight it and just hit the delete key. All right. So we are building our interface right now. The next thing that we want to put out there is an edit text, and I believe that's under text. I'm looking here to see if we've got I think that's plain text. If it's not, we'll just remove it. So I'm going to click here and drag that into here. And I can already tell it's not what I want. So I'm going to do a Control Z to just get rid of it. Let's see. Here we can click on text view. Click on all and look for, see if we can find it there. Now it is in here because that's all of our controls, but I don't remember which one it is right now, and I haven't gone on. So we will find it. We'll put it in just a couple minutes. We'll add the buttons, etc., etc. We'll do all that stuff. All right. Now, turning up to page 38, the author says the Android development environment encourages separating the display of text from the rest of the user interface. And the reason that you do that is in case you are writing apps that are multilingual. All right. So in other words, let's just start doing this. So let's select this first widget right here. Remember, that is our bill amount. All right. So then we're going to go into the properties window and we're going to find the text property. And you notice it currently says text view. Well, we want to click that ellipsis that's right there. All right. When we click that ellipsis, okay, now we want to click the new resource button. Add new resource. New string value. So we're going to enter a name and we're going to enter a value. And we said that the name, we already said this, was text view bill amount, and the value should be bill amount. Let's see if it takes that. Okay, so that's changed to bill amount. All right, this still says text view bill amount, but if you notice in our text now, it's got @string, okay? What we have done is we have taken the actual bill amount that you see right there. All right, we've taken that bill amount and we put it into its own file. We're going to actually do the same thing with all of these. So let's go to the second one. We're going to follow the same thing. Click on the ellipsis, add new resource, new string value. This again was text view %. You can always find it by looking up here. And we're going to put in here the word %. And click OK. So you can see how these two have now changed. All right, we go to the third one, which is right here. We'll again click. We'll again add new resource, new string resource. This is text view tip. And the resource value is just the word tip. Now the 3 are done. Now we click on the last one here. Add new resource, new string resource. Text view total and the word total. Click OK. All right. Now those 4 have been built. All right. So we selected the widget for each one of these in the properties window. So we selected any one in the properties window. We went down to the text property and we clicked the ellipsis to the right. In the resource dialog box that came up, we clicked the new resource button and new string value. All right. Now, again, the reason that we do this, let me look here. Under values, now look, strings.xml. That's what we just created. We could have done this in XML also, which is what this is. All right. Again, why do you do this? You do this so that if the app that you are creating is going to be a multilingual app, okay, now I can have another file that instead of calling it strings, I think we call it something like strings-esp for Spanish, España. All right, there's another one for French, etc. It's generally considered a best practice to store that display text for the app in a separate XML file. Again, that pretty much makes it easier. All right, it makes it easier for you to create international apps that'll work in multiple different languages. All right, so we've come through here. You already see what our app currently looks like. All right, I'm going to try a couple things. We're going to see whether or not they work. I want to put another, and I believe, let's see, 3 more text views. Now, I may have some problems with this, so you'll have to bear with me. So if it ends up that I put stuff in and take it out, that'll be why. So I'm going to put that about over here. Okay, there's another text view. And then I'm going to put another couple down here. And another one here. Again, this is by no means perfect, but it's not too bad looking of an interface. I want to grab a couple buttons, and I want to put one of them here. Don't like where that is. Again, I want to move it where I want it to go. So there's one. I'm going to move these over a bit. So I'm going to move that over. I'm going to move that over. And I'm going to move, come on, that over. So I can take these buttons and move them over a bit. So there's one button, and now I can add another button next to it. Again, you might have to do some dinkering with it. I don't know if dinkering is a word, but you get the idea. And I almost have my interface built. What I want to do is, looking at this, is I want to move this down, and I want to move this down, and I want to move this down, and this down. I'm just eyeballing this stuff right now. This and this, those are probably a little too close. So let me move that down a little. Move this down a little bit more. Okay, that's getting there. Again, it's sure, by no means is that perfect. All right, but it's getting there. All right, and I still want to come in and I want to find that edit text. I thought it was plain text, but multi-line. I'm going to try to put in a number decimal right here and see what that looks like. All right, we're going to leave that just like this for now. Okay, I can always click on it and change it around if I have to or want to at a later time. The other thing is this button. I'm going to call this, and I don't even know what they call it in the book, but I'm going to call this button increase. Okay, and again, I'm going to come over right away to my text. All right, add new resource. You've seen this now, new string value, and this is button increase. Now this one you could make a case and say that since the only thing I'm putting in there is a plus sign, I really and truly probably don't need to put that into a string file, but it's still, I think this is all good practice what we're going through right now. So this will be button decrease. And again, we'll go into the text. Again, click the ellipsis, add new resource, new string resource, button decrease. And we will put in here a minus sign and click OK. Now, I think at least the interface is really coming to be. It's looking pretty good. All right. So this is going to be the actual percent of the tip. This is going to be the actual tip, and this is going to be the actual total. All right. So I'm going to try to do a few things here. I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to change this to text view actual percent. All right, and we will come over here to our text, Add new resource, new string value, and this is text view. Actual percent, and we are going to put a value in here now of 10% and click OK. So you can see that. We're going to come into the tip and we're going to call that text view actual tip. Again, clicking in here and here and here. So this will be tip text view actual tip, and we're told for right now to set that to 0.00. Now we have, and we'll come into the last one and we'll call this text view actual total, becoming second nature hopefully to you by now. Add new string value, text view actual total 0.00. Okay, this is looking pretty decent. All right, looks like I can move this over a tad, which can move this over a tad. I like that a little better, a little more symmetrical. So this is already button increase, this is already button decrease, and I believe, at least if we look into our strings.xml file, you can see we now have everything in there. Okay, let's jump back into here. We have not changed this, so this is our edit text. Okay, so we're going to change this to edit text bill amount, and we're actually not going to put a value in there. So what I've done is I've now, when you look over here, everything has been renamed. Okay, you can see everything here has been renamed. I should mention too, if you look, I can shorten this up if I need my interface bigger, etc. There's a lot of different things that I can do with this. Okay, all right, so I just showed you how to select the text property for a widget. And I showed you the resources dialog box, and I showed you the new string value resource dialog box on pages 40 and 41. And that brings us to page 42 of the text. I want to check my time here. Okay, I'm already up to 23 minutes. So what I believe I'm going to do, 3, 4, is I'm going to stop right here and finish this up as a part 3. Okay, we are just about finished. Now, I am not using the exact names. So the names that I have, the ones that I showed you in my strings.xml file right here, are not exactly the same names that you'll see in the strings.xml file that's on page 43 in your book. All right, feel free, because I'm going to have us put this in as a class, to either do it exactly the way it is in the book or to use your own names. But if you do use your own names, as I have tried to do right here, you should come up with names that are reflective of the values that they are representing. Okay, so I'm going to come back. I'm on page 42, and I'm going to come back with the last 10 or so pages, and I'll finish that up as a part 3 of this video in just a couple minutes.